I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon if I can.
I seek opportunity, not security. I want to take the calculated risk.
To dream and to build, to fail and to succeed.
I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia.
I will never cower before any master,
nor bend to any threat.
It is my heritage to stand erect, proud, unafraid, to think and act for myself.
To enjoy the benefit of my creations.
And to face the world boldly and say, "This I have done."
All this is what it means to be an entrepreneur.
Thomas Paine, Common Sense. Hello, good morning, friends.
Good morning, everyone.
On the interwebs, I'm Rachael Blaske.
And I'm Julie Ahern.
And we're here with Joyce Dykema this week. In this episode of You're Invited, today's topic is how to excel in your field. And Julie, VP and COO of Greenbrier Games, and myself, VP of Channel Marketing for White Wizard Games, will chat with Joyce over a good cup of coffee and learn her insight and ideas about this topic that we feel is important when you run a board game company, and all the while discussing your comments and questions in the live chat because you're invited.
This episode is brought to you by XYZ Game Labs, Art Travels. Get crafty in this competitive order fulfillment and engine building game set in the colorful world of fiber arts. Art Travels is available, hit stores March 9th, but you can order it right now at shopxyzgamelabs.com.
So, just to remind you that we love it when you guys share our stream because it brings more discussion to the table. So if you could do that, we would appreciate it a whole lot. I'm even going to give you 10 seconds to do it now. Man, I like that one. Best ever. And news.
All right. So let's start with the one that was very widely discussed yesterday already. Asmodee bought Board Game Arena. So Board Game Arena, for the two people under a rock in the board game industry who don't know, is a platform. Not that I'm judging.
No judging.
But I feel like everybody here already knows, so I'm kind of
like being under a rock sometimes.
I know. I'm preaching to the choir right now.
Right.
Board Game Arena is a platform where you can play board games online, and it is a paid service for the people who play, and so you get a very small amount of the revenue if you are a publisher that has your game on that platform. Asmodee has purchased it, and that sale went through without the knowledge, advanced warning to any of the publishers who are on that platform, including several that were currently working on adding new things or working with Board Game Arena. So it has made some waves, to say the least. There's been plenty of speculation about whether Asmodee will keep the games, whether publishers who aren't part of Asmodee's vast empire will pull their games anyway. We'll see how that works out. And then my other little piece of information is Lucky Duck has moved to GameFound for their new Kingdom Rush crowd fund. So, GameFound is part of the Awakened Realms speaking of companies diversifying, Awakened Realms, which is a board game publisher, has been using GameFound as a pledge manager for quite some time, and has talked about how they were trying to expand into the crowdfunding platform eventually, so that it would be both the funding and the pledge manager after the fact. So they started with their own game, and so they had a certain number of supporters and backers, and that was interesting to see. But now this is another company, a different company, moving onto their platform, and so
Still being super successful.
And so we can debate level of success, compare. So Kingdom Rush, it's actually a pretty good comparison. So you can go on Kickstarter to see the first Kingdom Rush game and see how track how it did versus this one, because that's certainly what I will be doing. And also, of course, they backed it for research.
Of course.
Research. So yes, I am excited to see where it goes and interested to see what happens, and also interested to see what Kickstarter may do in response if this is starting to gain some success. It's an interesting times in our community.
It's true. So just a reminder to everyone, you can click the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, and you can choose to be notified every time we go live. We'll also have the link to our YouTube account in the description box below, so you can subscribe to our archive shows after streaming. Exciting thing that I just realized that I did not update that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop lots of links into the chat right now, where we talk about Asmodee acquiring Board Game Arena and the GameFound link. And let's see here. One last one. These two I'll drop in later for good stuff.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Now, my excitingness. I'm so excited. Okay. All right. Let me pull this down and bring us up here, because we have a guest today that is amazing. Joyce Dykema. She's a birth doula, and we go way back. When we met, she was working on her master's in biology, and our husbands were coworkers. We found out that they liked board games. We wanted to reach out and get to know them as a couple. And as some of you may know, I personally, I'm a pretty extroverted person. And Joyce, and similarly Julie, are introverted. And I kind of like claim and scoop them up. And so this is my scooped up Joyce, that the original reason why I bought Wingspan, buying it for her as a birthday gift, since her master's involves bird research. And finally, as she and I both progressed through early motherhood together and other career paths and life experiences, our common thread that we're strong female business owners that learn, grow, and sharpen each other. So it's a pleasure to have her here and hear her expertise. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Hi, Joyce.
Hello, good morning.
Hey!
So exciting seeing you here.
So exciting.
Cool.
So we had a ton of questions, but we're going to start with getting to know you, because the cool thing about getting to talk to you is that our audience is all board game centric and hasn't got a chance to and learn from you. So you're a doula, and but you didn't start in that career.
No.
So if you could tell us a little bit about your journey. So how did you transition from your first profession to this one? And also, for anybody who doesn't know, can you share what a doula does?
Sure. I'm going to start with that second question first, what a doula does. We're hearing doula a lot more nowadays. The doula model of care is really transitioning into a lot of different areas. But the most common types of doulas that you hear about are going to be a birth doula, which is what I am, and a postpartum doula. And me as a birth doula, my job is I provide continuous emotional, physical, and informational support and advocacy to childbearing people before, during, and immediately after birth. So I'm there with them during the pregnancy, helping them to get prepared, and during the birth, helping them however they need to achieve their birth goals. And then I help transition them into parenthood. So that's what a doula does.
Mm-hmm.
A birth doula, at least. And it's a non-medical field, so I don't need licensure or anything like that. It's just support. And so how I started, I was joking with these ladies before about like, how early do you want me to start? Because like I could start at age 4 if you want me. But I don't think we have time for that.
Right.
So I started college as pre-veterinary, and by the time I graduated, my goal had changed to I wanted to be a biology professor, and so I entered a PhD program and started down that path. But then fast forward 5 years later, and I decided to switch to a master's degree and got pregnant on purpose.
Oh, good.
It was on purpose.
Okay.
So by the time I graduated with my master's degree, I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. Besides, like, I was going to be a mom for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, that one was set. That one was
right.
Yeah.
Like
That ship sailed.
the baby is coming. We're going to be a mom for a while. And it was my birth experience that really set me along the path to being a doula. And it actually fit along with a lot of my academic interests. My undergraduate degree is in psychology, and then a biology minor in college, and then a biology master's degree. And being a doula, it's a really interesting combination of psychology, figuring out like what motivates people, supporting people through their emotions, things like that, and then obviously the biology of birth. And it was my birth experience that sent me along this path, and I ended up taking my first doula training when my son was 9 months old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's been 11 years.
So when you are a doula, what are the challenges that you have to deal with, and how have you been overcoming that? I mean, as both a business person and in your field, and getting to the point where you're moving up the ladder, is so to speak.
Sure. The biggest thing with the doula field is that it's extremely unpredictable. Sometimes there's just not that many pregnant people who are looking for a doula in your area. And so, you just don't get hired for unknown amounts of time for unknown reasons. Choosing your doula is also very personal. This person's going to see you emotionally and probably physically naked.
Mm-hmm.
You need to feel really comfortable with them. And so for some reason, people are going to choose a different doula than me, and you have to be able to roll with that and understand that it's not about me. And then with the financial unpredictability, you've got to have either financial systems in place to help you manage the volatility of your income, or another side gig or whatever it is that you need to manage. It's also very unpredictable in that I don't ever know when I'm going to work. I don't ever know. If I do know, I know about a week or two in advance at the most. And that's for, scheduled births of various kinds. So you have to be able to drop everything at a phone call.
So even your side gig has to be something that also allows you to be like, hey, can't make it.
Flexibility is key.
Flexibility, and then people to drop all the balls to catch all the balls that I drop. It's fascinating.
Yes, because I'm thinking about thinking how translating that into how volatile board games. It's entertainment. It's what's your audience? How fickle are they? What's happening in society? Whether they're focusing on entertainment or not.
Mm-hmm.
How many other games are coming out? And you're like, hey, how many people are pregnant, and which one of you wants to have me be your suddenly best friend for several months, and then I go away again? That's intense.
Yes. Yep. Yes, it is. Because of that unpredictability. So I've been doula for 11 years. There have been 4 days where I've had 2 births on the same day. 4 days. Yeah. So
I remember that she just checks out. Like I'm like, are you awake yet? It's been a couple days.
Not awake yet. Gotta wake
And
it.
that's the other thing, like, she doesn't sleep, like, during that, 24 hours almost, like
Yeah. I mean, I might be woken up at 2 a.m.
Mhm.
I might get called at 10 p.m. before I'm in bed, before I'm asleep, and then I'm awake for the whole night. So
Girl, fire.
it's crazy. So then you also have to manage that unpredictability and have really good recovery skills and then
Mhm.
self-care skills so that you can keep yourself healthy for the long run.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then
So-
again with that,
Yeah.
well, then again with that unpredictability, if I have 2 births at the same time, then I have to have backups. I have to have good relationships with my colleagues, which is very different than a lot of other industries. You know, like these other doulas who have their own businesses. In a lot of other industries, they're my competitors. But I can't have that kind of mindset in a birth doula field, which is very interesting because I have
my
to rely on
gosh.
them for my backups.
All the
that's-
parallels. Oh,
It's
so many
fascinating, isn't it?
parallels.
So then what, okay, so what would you say, because you've now listed, oh my gosh, so many things.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So
Told
that,
you.
being somebody who's successful in their field, so because I got to go over and take a peek at your website and everything like that, and you're doing so many things. So you do, mentorship programs, and you also teach. You have helped develop a network. So and I know we talked also a little bit about how you're doing programs in other capacities as well. So what skills did you co-opt from your other life
Mhm.
and your other experiences to accelerate your success here?
Sure. It's not going to be your typical like, oh, I learned how to do this skill. What I learned most in graduate school is how I work and how I operate and what I need to be successful. And what I need is balance. And so I've been very intentional with keeping my workload manageable within the context of my home life. And it changes a lot.
Yep.
But in order to do all of those things and wear all of those hats, I need a lot of margin in my life. I'm introverted, like Rachael mentioned. And so, if I'm spending all this time getting to know my clients really well, then I also need a lot of downtime so that I can recharge and be alone.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of balance and figuring it out and cutting back when I need to and limiting my growth, actually. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Holding
And
back.
limiting, okay, and I think this is a tough sell with the audience we've got today.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I'm fully in agreement with you, even if I don't always practice my own
Mhm.
Same.
advice.
Same.
That limiting your growth actually promotes better growth.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Because you have to be healthy. You have to be healthy. I cannot take care of my clients over 4 days of labor
Mhm.
if I'm a mess at home. Like I have to be in a healthy place and I have to step back if I'm not in a healthy place. And then, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. What other questions?
Well, no,
Okay.
I love that you're saying that because I mean, I'm drawing all these parallels of okay, well, she has somebody in place to catch the balls that she drops when she has to go at a moment's notice. I have a hard time, getting away for 4 days for a convention and that is planned for, months in advance.
Yep.
And then also being in a place where I have my home life all, handled and work life all handled so that when I go to that convention, my headspace is there.
Yes.
I'm not like I'm
Fully
actually
present.
able to go to work because I've got my other stuff balanced and handled. It's
But
very
also having the mentality and making sure everybody in your life who is support for your choices, knowing that when you're away, you're not on vacation.
right.
This isn't downtime where you get to relax. You are working so that when you come back, you need actual downtime to recharge, which I think is another huge. And now that we don't even have the built-in go travel and come back,
Mhm.
I think that so many people in our industry have been talking about burnout because every day is go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause you're
without
trying to-
travel time, I can schedule Zoom after Zoom after Zoom after Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And all hours of the day and night, and time is
Yeah.
meaningless, and we're in a tube.
Right.
But I couldn't. But I
Right.
can't.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't actually promote productivity of any kind.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
whew,
Yeah.
I know.
I
It's
remember
so
what I was
good.
going to say.
Oh, yes, please do.
So
Yeah.
a lot, this is doula specific, birth industry specific. I find that a lot of the newer doulas, like they look at me and they're like, oh, she's certified with, you know, this organization and this organization, and she's an evidence-based birth instructor, and she's done, you know, spinning babies training and a rebozo training and that training and that training and that training. And I want to be like that person. And they want to go out and take all the trainings and do all the certifications. And I have to tell people, like, no, you have to write a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. You can't invest in all of these things all at the same time before you really got income coming in, and before you know where you need to grow. Like if your mind's already attuned to, you know, the emotions of your client, and you're really good at tapping into that, you don't need some of those other trainings. If you've already got body work training, you don't probably need some of these other trainings. And so you have to figure out what are your strengths by spending some time in the business and growing
and implementing them
before you buy stuff. You buy stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good. Oh my gosh. So mentoring, because obviously you have a lot of knowledge that you can pass on to new people. Did you have one? And are you helping other people now? And what do you, like you said, what do you make sure that they know right off the bat that you wish you would have known?
Sure. I did not have a mentor, and I flailed for a while. And then it's more of a friend group, really, with some of the other doulas who've been around a little bit longer than me. But we all learned from and taught each other so much in the last, 10 years, really. And so it wasn't a mentorship. It's more of a friendship, but we still mentored each other. And now I do have, like Julie mentioned, on my website, I have a mentoring program. And like I said, I'm keeping it small. So it's only for people in the Lincoln, Nebraska area who are local to me, because I've got to figure out my market. I have to figure out, what I need from that relationship, all those sorts of things there. So I do have a mentorship program. I've been mentoring a couple of other doulas for one of them for over a year, and then another one for the last 6 months here and there. And it's been wonderful.
So you've been doing that. And I'd like to point out, charging for your time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are experienced and this is valuable information. And it's not like it's a crazy amount, but you're setting boundaries there as well.
Right.
But you're working at a community?
Yes, at a community center. Yeah. So it's the Malone Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. MaloneCenter.org is their website. And they started Malone Maternal Wellness last year in response to some of the initiatives that they were already working on breastfeeding support for Black families, Black mothers, and Black babies. And they launched a whole maternal wellness to start counteracting the health disparities in Black and Indigenous people's higher risk of maternal mortality and morbidity, and infant mortality and morbidity in the United States. So they do childbirth classes, which I'm teaching. They do birth doulas and postpartum doulas, and then breastfeeding support as well. And they also have scholarships for other BIPOC individuals who want to become a doula in the Lincoln and Omaha areas. So.
And this is the reason I loved hearing about it was such a great example of wanting to promote, having two different organizations or entities come together to help facilitate that incorporation of, there's a deficit here, how do we make it better, instead of you taking it on all on your own, or them trying to train doulas from the start, having somebody come in and work together with them so that somebody's teaching with the experience and the education, but also helping create a better and more diverse community. It was a great example of how that can work, which I'm always looking for personally, I think, in our industry as well. So seeing a successful model is great.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to be a part of it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you are, I love when we talk, because when we are talking about sharpening each other, I see so many parallels. Like I can see how everything that you're doing is applicable. And then we talk about finding our audiences and where there's so much overlap. Like, I mean, to say, like, 9 months ago, there may have been something that happened that may increase your client base this year around this time. And
Not really.
Coincidentally,
Really?
also,
No?
Baby,
Seriously?
yep, COVID baby bust. You can Google it.
bust, huh?
Bust. But
Interesting.
the people who are expecting, the pandemic has opened a lot of people's eyes to all those disparities in the maternity care system. And so people are realizing, like, okay, this hospital is telling me, like, one, that doulas are, great at reducing cesarean rates, at reducing my, the risk that I'm going to have a baby go to the NICU. But now they're telling me that I can't have my doula. And so they're seeing the dichotomy in the medical industrial complex, but what the research says. And so they are reaching out to doulas and childbirth education more now.
That's good.
Gosh, I love that, because she's constantly pulling through. She's so into numbers and pulling all of the different statistics, and she's
and they're not terrifying at all.
No, right.
They should hopefully what is happening, what I'm seeing happen, and what hopefully is happening for more people than not, is that they're seeing these numbers and going, okay, this is the reality. I'd better do something about it. And they're turning that fear into action.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope is happening. And that's
turning
what
fear into action is, I like that.
It's a life
Fear
skill.
into action.
I like
Turning
that.
your fear into action. You've got to figure out what you're afraid of and why you're afraid of it. And then, like, how can I manage this? Because the baby's got to come out. The baby's coming out.
I love it. My brain's in a completely different space because of that statement. And then the baby's got to come out.
It is. The baby's got to come out. So you better plan for something.
Right. Well, my babies are all my games, and I feel like that's, and there's still a metaphor there.
They gotta come out.
Yeah.
The baby has
also I might have nightmares tonight after that statement.
Okay. So Joyce is amazing, and we asked her to kind of like pull that all together and what her top tip is, and don't bite off more than you can chew. Tell me about that.
So I feel like I have too many top tips, honestly. When you asked me that question, I was like, well, it's this and 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 this. But I feel like it kind of sums up like everything that we've talked about, really, that you've got to pace yourself in business. You cannot, entrepreneurs, we all have this dream, like, I'm going to make the world a better place by doing this, and we all want to see that dream come to fruition now. But that's not how most of these endeavors work. And so we have to pace ourselves. We have to pace ourselves financially. We can't invest like our entire life savings, most of us, in what we're doing. And we can't invest all of our time in this. We still have to sleep. We still have to eat. We have to spend time with our families, our friends. We've got to have some downtime and recovery time from the job. And then also you've got to know your ideal client and focus on them. You've got to really focus on your ideal client and not try and get everybody, because that's biting off more than you can chew. And
know your audience. Yay!
Yeah. So that's don't bite off more than you can chew. That's my top tip.
I love it. All the applicable information here is just fantastic. So, Julie,
yes.
What you got going on this week? I'm going out of order because let's do it. All right, cool. What you got happening?
So this week was speaking about having boundaries and self-care. This week was not a big work week. I had to say goodbye to my cat, Gracie. So she was a senior cat, and we she had enough. She stopped eating, and so we had to say goodbye, and I did. So I didn't get a lot of work done. In addition, I have to say goodbye to my intern, who has had to put up with me this week, graciously and quite well. And so McKinley has come from Bennington College. They are the second intern we've had from this college, and I will say it's an amazing program. So because we're publishers, and I've had a couple smaller conversations before that this is something that potentially people might be interested in, I would like to say that Bennington College does an amazing setup for internship program. They do 2 a year, and it's always right after a semester where it's a six-week program, and that is part of their college degree. So every year they're doing a slightly shorter semester than the traditional college, and then 6 weeks of internship 2 times every year, so that they're getting a lot more work experience, hopefully in the field that they're interested in looking into. So McKinley is interested more in RPG writing, and he did an amazing job helping me out with some of the work on revising the Lost One storybook, which is a lot of words, and he did a great job at that. And then, but the program was, we came up with what do you want to work on? What kind of a project do you want to do? So part of it was working on something that was existing to see what that process looks like in publishing. And then we worked on him doing an analysis of Kickstarter, so that if he determines that he wants to start his own company and go that path and look at crowdfunding, he has a better and more informed look at that. And as soon as we're done here, I actually have to jump off because we're going to go talk to John Ritter, who is now heading up the Kickstarter board game team, so that he can actually do an interview at the end, and that's his graduation. So I have to, that's basically what I've been doing. So if anybody is interested, I also, yes, there's a link in the description box of when you talk about mentoring and internships and stuff like that. I have found that over the years, I've had a lot of personal satisfaction in mentoring people who are interested in being in the board game community, and not all of them, obviously not all of them ending up going that route, because again, how many of us are doing what we did when we started for undergrad? But some of them have, and all of them, I feel like, came away more informed than they were before they started, and that's important to me. So if anybody's interested, there is a link, and they do an excellent program.
Excellent. That's awesome. So this week, I am getting back to a panel that I love doing. It is a small box panel where we talk with a bunch of other small game publishers, and how it's a little bit different when in our process. So we've been doing this. It's probably, I think this will be our installment number 4 of 5, and we will be covering fulfillment and distribution. We have some great expertise on that, talking about crazy things like case counts. I mean, people with big box games, they're typically 6 in a box?
4 or 6.
4 to
Yay.
6. I had 80. So things be crazy. We have lots to talk about. I know, like Caesar, he works with Alley Cat Games, and he just did a full fulfillment on Tinder Blocks and Kitten, which are tin games. I can't wait to hear about him. We've got Adam, who is he was working with some small games, but he's actually starting fulfillment for our travels today. So he's going to have that. And then we've got the complete other perspective of having Jason Tagmeyer, who fulfills all of his stuff on his own in-house. And it's just
I actually
massive,
need to tune
amazing
in for that
thing.
because we did a barbarian pins campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Or we did pins as part of the thing, but where they're fulfilling them separately.
Yeah.
And by fulfilling them separately, I mean they're getting shipped directly here. And so I'm going to have a lot of this.
Yeah.
A lot of this.
Well, I went ahead and linked that in the chat. It goes straight to the YouTube link, and you can click get reminder on it or set reminders. So that way you see that. It's going to be on the 20th. I'll probably talk about it again next week. And then also we are in the process of, for Gamma, the Gamma Expo Online, we are going to do our final of the series on packaging and shelf presence as part of the seminar track there for publishers. So it's just real cool. I love all the things that we learn in that panel, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So, all right. And Joyce, let's see here. Where can people find you?
Lots of places. I've got Facebook.
She's everywhere.
I'm not active on all of them. Best place is my website. It's doulajoyce.com. And then I'm most active on Instagram, which is at doulajoyce on Instagram. And then TikTok is the same at doulajoyce. I'm also on Twitter. And I also have a Pinterest and a Facebook. And Pinterest and Facebook are at doulajoyce LNK for Lincoln, Nebraska.
Very nice.
Nice.
Lots of places. But I'm most active on Instagram.
Cool.
Yep.
So
next week.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about Grace?
Oh, Grace. So
yeah.
Okay. Grace is a board game designer in the education field. So clearly this is
I get all excited.
I'm happy about. Yeah. Because that's where I started. I started in designing board games for education. And so Grace is from the UK, and she's going to be talking about how do you transcend markets, because she's in that market of education board games as opposed to hobby or mass market. And so we're going to have a chat about how do you break into a new market, because she's experiencing that, trying to actually I met her because she started talking about trying to break into the US market education wise, and how that's a totally different thing than in the UK. So we're going to have a chat next week about that.
Excellent. Wow.
So thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. This awesome session was sponsored this week by Arcane Wonders. So once you're done here, head over there to their website and see all the cool things they're doing.
So you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, of course, and then some Pinterest. So links are all in the description box below.
Enjoy your Friday, everyone. And remember, next week, you're invited.